Hi guys, thank you so much for stopping by. It's Vesna here. Today is another Christmas in July episode. And today I'm making a tray. You can make this however big you want. I am using these framing lumber boards from Home Depot. They are about $3 for a 6-foot piece, which is really cheap. And I will be putting them together to create some nice Christmas trays. But first things first, you have to cut it to size. So I cut mine to the size that I wanted to make. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, I've done it where I've covered a stove with something similar to this. So it really just depends on what you want to do. So I start off with staining some of them. So some of them I stained with this glaze from Rust-Oleum, and some of them I painted black, and some of them I painted white. For the black I used Rust-Oleum charcoal black, and for the white I just used, what I had done was I stained it brown and then I painted white over top of it, and then I wiped off the white to give it kind of a rustic look. You'll see the finished product. But for this first one, I'm just showing you that you apply the glaze. You want to wear some gloves because it is very messy, and I'm just using a cloth to apply the glaze. And this glaze makes it look like it's stained a really nice color. So I really liked this. And then I do use a brush to apply a little bit of wax, and then I use a spray sealer just to seal everything in so it does not come off. And I apply one coat of the glaze on each side, as well as the sides, the insides and the edges. Even though some of them will be covered, I still do it just so that none of the lighter wood shows through. And I use 4 of these boards, as well as two shorter ones, which I in the video show you putting them on the bottom, but they'll actually be on top of the tray. But for the sake of adding them to I didn't want the screws to show over top of it, so I do it from the bottom. And I pre-drill holes, and I pre-drill the holes for my handles as well. And I just purchased some cheap handles off of Amazon. They were just black handles. You can do any size you want, any kind of style. These were the ones that I wanted to go with. So you can see I've pre-drilled holes on the wood boards, and I've done this so that I just did like a little marker where I gently did them, and then I went ahead and I pre-drilled all the holes. But this kind of gave me a marker on where I wanted to put them, and to make sure that they were all even on along the same line, so that I didn't make a mistake. So you want to measure, you can use a ruler, you can use whatever you want to make it easier. I really wanted them to look straight, and I wanted them to look perfect. So as mentioned, then I went and I screwed them in with some wood screws, and again from the bottom, so that when you flip the tray over, it looks like this. And you want to make sure that it all kind of fits perfectly and that it does not look wonky in any ways before you screw on the other piece. Don't be nervous about having to drill the holes in. It's very easy, and most people have a drill at home. If you do not, you could potentially use E6000 and glue it all together, but it wouldn't. This is much better. You could nail stuff in too if you didn't have a screwdriver, a drill. And the cutting, the Home Depot can do that for you as well. They'll cut it to size if you need them to. So as I said, I apply some wax, and I'm applying the Annie Sloan black wax, and I just want it to look a little bit darker, just a little bit more rustic and kind of more wintry, because I was making these for Christmas. So I wanted it to look, I don't know, to me, like the darker aged wood represents Christmas a little bit better. But that's just in my head. You obviously can do anything you want, any kind of stain, any kind of color. This just to give you some ideas. And I didn't want to show you every single one of them, the step, because everyone knows how to paint. Everyone knows how to get the look that they're looking for. So these ones, like I said, I just showed you this one, and then I'll talk a little bit about the white looking ones a bit more, just so in case you're not sure how I did that. Once I applied this wax, then I went ahead and I cut out some designs on Cricut Design Space, and I just found some free SVGs that I could apply, and I cut them out, and then I applied them to my tray, and I added the handles, and this is what it looks like. So Farm Fresh Christmas trees. Now here are the other ones. So the one at the back that says North Pole Hot Cocoa, that one I painted out black, and I put the white over top, and again I wiped it off, and then I just went and I dry brushed a little bit of red to kind of go with the hot cocoa that's on there. And then for the Farm Fresh Christmas trees, the one that's a little bit lighter than the stained one, that one I stained it, and then I went over top with white and just wiped it off, and it gave me this color. And then the very black one is just charcoal black, and I used a gold Farm Fresh Christmas trees vinyl for this one. Now you can also paint this in if you use a stencil and then just dab it in. You could do that, or you could just put the vinyl on yourself. It depends what you want to do. If you do it as a stencil, when you're adding the paint to it, you want to make sure that you're dabbing off most of the paint and just doing lightly in layers, because you don't want the paint to bleed. Once it bleeds, then it's really, really hard to redo. So just, especially if you've stained it. So just kind of word of advice. But I think these turned out really, really cute, and they are great little decor pieces. You can have it as a tray on your table. You can have it as an actual tray where you take it to like put things if you have company on. Whatever you'd like. I suppose you could make it food grade too if you use some food grade stain or paint or sealer. You could make it food grade, so it could be like a charcuterie board, but these are not food grade. They're just more for decor or to be used as a tray. You could make this bigger and cover your stove or maybe your sink, whichever one you want. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Stop by next week for a mega fall video where I show you some fall decor ideas and before I move on to Halloween.